Hi, I'm Samantha Potter. I'm the commercial audio and install manager for Allen Heath. I have a pretty varied background, including AV/IT and system design, but I've also grown up as a musician, classical, jazz, that sort of style, and then got really into computers and then live sound like so many of us do, which really has all kind of led to this really nice full background that can help Allen and Heath understanding where they're coming from consoles and going into the world more intensely with install and commercial audio uses as well. So with AHM, our goal is to create something a little bit different for installers or systems engineers, kind of approaching system processing a little bit differently, offering some different tools that may be a little bit different than we're normally using, but getting something back for that, being able to make changes with really high quality audio without disrupting everything that's going on. But AHM has so many great pieces to it. At the real heart of it, what we want to do is just offer a different tool set for different projects so people can find what they need, get started easily, and get on to the next project. AHM is a real game changer because we're kind of approaching, even just fundamentally, how we process the audio is using an FPGA versus a DSP that a lot of other products use. And for us, using FPGAs gives us the opportunity to not only do simultaneous processing really well, which is what FPGAs are great at, but also taking in mind all of the care and love into the audio experience. So for that, the end customer, it's almost like this perfect invisible thing. Like when it's not there, it's missing. And we're able to offer that. So with AHM, using FPGAs and all of this care that Allen and Heath has in general for audio processing, we're able to offer a couple more tools and some of the classic tools that we use in system processing, but just a little bit different, a little bit more care and a little bit more speed and agility to do those projects with. If I had to pick just a couple of features that I particularly like about AHM, the first one that comes to mind is the selector tool. So on every single zone, which is sort of like an output bus, we have something called a selector. It's this tool that lets you toggle between sources going into a given bus or zone, but it also lets you control like groups of inputs or groups of like cross points and zones, all of these different grouping, and it lets you do preset triggering as well. Now, that in itself isn't super magical, but the real magic gets unlocked in that we make it available on things like custom control, which is our free GUI creator, or we make it available on our tactile wall plate controllers as well, or even with third-party control. So if you're using a control platform that you love, you can access the selectors as well. So we can give friendly names, fade-ins and fade-outs between sources. The selectors are just this great way to customize this really neat little tight box for end users to have this like seamless experience with their zone or with their area. Sometimes I'll even use selectors with zones that are not related at all, just because I love that function so much. So if I had to pick one to look at, that's definitely one of them. AHM is really suitable for kind of just about anybody. Like if you're coming from the production world and you really understand audio processing, moving into AHM feels kind of like being at home, especially if you've used any of the Allen Heath consoles. Moving over to AHM, very, very easy. But on the flip side, and from the other direction, if you're coming from AV/IT space or coming from, open architecture, traditional AV designs, this also feels quite familiar. And regardless of which end of the spectrum you're coming in on, it either feels much easier to enter into the technology, or if you're very used to the technology, this becomes so much simpler and faster to implement. Several of the features that we've put into AHM over the years are actually directly derived from end user and system integrator asks. That's how a lot of our features end up getting built. One of the ones that comes to mind is just a feedback suppression. We just launched that with 1.6 firmware. And so being able to hear all this feedback from people to say, God, we really wish we had this feature, and then being able to give that to them is really special for us as a company. So feedback suppression is a really big one, but also things like the unit stacking. So taking multiple AHMs and being able to stack them virtually, so you can have control over more than one. So it feels like you're building a bigger system. And then finally, things like ganging. We have this ganging feature in AHM that allows you to temporarily gang together processing blocks or level blocks or delay blocks, and basically make relative or absolute or mirrored changes, which is a really powerful workflow change that is directly derived from especially production and system processing deployments. Being able to say, I've already done some work, but I want to make some relative changes very quickly, that is directly for people just like that. The future of AHM for us is really bright. We have a lot of things that we want to do, and we're kind of walking this path with traditional AVIT and system integration, but as well as sort of tipping our hat or giving a nod to the production side of not only our history, but the industry as a whole. How can we make things better for both of these groups of people? Many of the things that they want have a lot in common, but they also want special things for each side. So for us going into the future, it's basically improving both sides of the spectrum of systems and audio people. Watching the market develop and grow here in Thailand has been so fun to watch and a pleasure to come see in person as well. It seems like Sonos Libra really has an understanding about hospitality and growing that market and getting to go and see all of the projects that they've done with such finesse and style and really understanding what AHM means and where we want to take it. It seems like they've got such a good grip on it. And then coming and watching, going to downtown Bangkok and seeing all these new buildings, this new world, these experiences for people is really, really fun for us to see.